What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 2 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Gorbad Ironclaw Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, had a pretty swell start as we faced off against many a southern realmer and the occasional orc as well, and got our first, I believe, 3-ish provinces, and even managed to split off our first army relatively early, or at least earlier than I would typically do so. So I expect great things from Blorg, or rather, it also very much amuses me that his name is Blorg, because that's just fantastic. Anyway, in terms of what we're doing this time, well, in this very turn, we are looking to land at the Citadel of Mermidia and attack the capital of the Golden Order, as at the very end of the last episode, or the first episode, they decided to declare war upon us. I wasn't even planning to go all the way down here yet, as we are still dealing with the Southern Realms, but you know, an opportunistic AI does make sense, and especially if it makes our campaigns tougher. Not going to be as tough as Thorgrim's start was, I'd wager, but still pretty much surrounded by enemies on every side, or at the least potential enemies. Anyway, before we get jumping on into the Citadel of Mermidia, Mr. Gorbad, somebody in the comments last episode pointed out that the scrap upgrades are no longer 1 per unit, but rather you can get multiple scrap upgrades, so apparently we can just go ahead and just take better bows and then get combat skin sacks later on. Something the lads can put their arrows, rocks, poisonous spores, and other horrid things into fling at the foes. Fantastic. I gotta make sure to read more of these. Anyway, so yeah, we should probably get some upgrades going on at least the various units of... it says 1 out of 2. I'm just curious. If we get this one, will it say 1 out of 3, or will it say... Yeah, it says 1 out of 3. Alright, yeah, I know that we're spending early game scrap, but these guys are pretty critical to this particular army, so I think it'll probably be worth it. Anyway, Mr. Gorbad, let's move you on in. We'll see if we can land and attack the Citadel of Mermidia at the same time, which we, by the looks of it, can. Beautiful. Now, the real question is, do we head over the walls and attack them that way, or do we besiege them? Oh, also, before I forget, Mr. Muncha Headbutt, you're going to need to land as well. Go here. We'll put you into March stance just to make sure that you can land right beside Gorbad and keep leeching the old XP. Alright, also we've got some points, though. Gorbad is saving his for Ears to Plan. 3 more points, or 3 more levels to go before we can get that going. Whereas Steve, the name gets me. Steve. Anyway, you can get Brain Burster, and then we want to grab the Foot of Gork. It's just too disgustingly good of a spell and not to get, or at the very least highly damaging, if the enemy chooses to blob up and let us drop that foot. The other thing that we can do is maybe upgrade a few of the units in here. We do have only 1 unit of Orc Biggins, but we could in theory upgrade them to Boar Boy Biggins, can't we? And we could. And it's probably worth it to do so. Then at the very least we'd have 2 units of Boar Boy Biggins, and I think we'd wanted that, so let's do that, and let's upgrade the regular Boar Boys to Boar Boy Biggins. They're probably going to be with this army forever, so we may as well get you some... Oh wow, they have 4 different upgrades? Alright, one is a unique from... oh, it's Big Banner Boys, right? This one is unique from Gorbad himself, eh? So it's a pretty decent. The 10 melee attack will be coupled. Ooh, armor and speed and even more armor. Damn, that's going to be very nice on the Boar Boys. Anyway, we'll leave those guys as they are. The Ruglets are now stronger, and frankly, we can probably just straight up attack, assuming we don't need to do anything else, and I'm just going to assume that we don't. I guess we could upgrade this little Gobbo here. You can have Inspiring Presence in case anybody... has low leadership, at least until we get the plan that gives us Unbreakable for the entirety of Gorbad's army, which is also kind of insane. But anyway, that's about it. Oh, look at the tiny little wah, 1 Gobbo. Anyway, this should be our first fight, should be pretty fun. Let's get to it.
You do what I tell you. I take care of the big stuff, and we win this too. Got that? Now, go smash some heads!
Alrighty, Gorbad and Narla together at last, and we'll see the piggy in action. Well, perhaps not shortly, because we still have to bring down, at the very least, all of the enemy towers on the walls. That is admittedly going to take a fair bit of time, so rather than just wait on screen for like 5 minutes while we do the bombarding, I'm just going to make a quick cut here, and then come back once we're ready to actually assault in the enemy city. Alrighty, took a little bit of time, but at last the army is moving forward. The towers are down, the gate is at the very least in trouble, and we've moved forward our units of range, well, units, so that the Ruglud's armored orcs and the tactical boys can start hosing the enemy on top of those walls. Looks like we got some halberdiers, which are going to be very much in trouble against the bleed-causing arrows there. Or quarrels. Well, arrows and quarrels. We got goblin archers and regular orc archers helping out as well. And frankly, by the looks of it, the enemy doesn't want to stay up on those walls too long. Anyway, we still have about 12,000 HP on that gate that we will continue having to work through, but at the end of the day, probably not going to be all that bad. Now, there is a fire wizard, a bright wizard up there as well, but it looks like he's going to leave just as we get range superiority, at least at this distance. It does look like the enemy has a bunch of range units. In fact, has a ton of them. All of these crossbows deployed, but most of them are not deployed on the walls. Kind of an interesting choice by the AI, because the walls give an additional range buff to the units. They would still outrange us if they were up there, and we wouldn't be able to fire back at them, and would have to take short, at least without taking shots. Well, that's their choice, I suppose. Anyway, more quarrels gonna come down on the Bright Wizard. Quarrels and arrows, I guess. But it does look like the enemy gate is nearly done for. Maybe I should have cut this little hosing down of the walls as well. But, not such a big deal. Alrighty, and the occasional bolt or arrow will find its way through those crenellations and bring down the occasional halberdier, especially if they back off. And there we go with that. The enemy gate falls, and Gorbad and Narla, plus the wizard, get ready to move on in. Alrighty, nice little charge into some of those enemies. Gorbad will, well, actually, the anti-large halberdiers should actually be a decent threat to him, so we will have to be careful. Cavalry Bane will also debuff his acceleration ability. His melee defense at 55 is also probably too low to... And it looks like he... Dude, you have a shield on your back. Just saying. He seems to block arrows with one arm instead, but he has a big old shield on his back, but I guess he doesn't want to use it. Anyway, time to get our forces inside the enemy settlement. Going to follow up with a big old blast on the enemy, mostly to try to get the orc shaman out, as he started to take a fair bit of damage. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered. Alrighty, and it's just solely to try to save the shaman as he's taking a bit of damage, and we'd use the forbidden rod to get us magic or additional winds of magic, and it hurt us as well, plus that miscast then hurt us as well. On the bright side, though, through the open gate, here come the orc boys, and they will start working on all those enemy halberdiers. Looks like Gorbad's back in action against the enemy halberds here, but they're getting pincushioned by Ruglud's armored orcs. That bleed, once again, should take them out relatively quickly. Looks like more halberdiers are moving in to block our way through into the enemy settlement, block up that gate. And man, Gorbad is certainly towering over those little halberdiers. And so is Narla. That's a big pig. Alright, a nice hit from Gorbad, and we are blocking off at least some of those halberdiers while more orc boys make their way forward. We gotta get as many units as we can into the enemy settlement, and sorry about the camera jumping around. Pathing's a little bit weird here, just trying to get into the action below as the boys are facing off against the combination of halberdiers and great swords. Against regular orc boys, well, the orc boys have no chance. All they can do is hope that they get a little bit of magical support and other types of damage. Here's hoping. Alrighty, and we're at about half HP on our Orc Shaman. Still got to be very wary of him taking a lot of miscast damage. But it's not like that means we will stop casting. Anyway, it looks like the first of the enemy halberdiers that was being pin-cushioned while held in place by the Orc boys has been destroyed. A second one has arrived, but of course Gorbad continues to fight on the front line. Time to use our first Foot of a Gork. What a fantastic looking spell, as it's going to stomp down on several units of crossbows here. Like so. That was a non-overcast variant, but even without being overcast, it basically destroys 2 of the units and clips a couple more and damaging them pretty darn heavily. Our own crossbows continue firing over that wall as we continue to fight and bring down whatever else is around the gate. Gorbad's still very much in it, though he has taken, or he's gone down to about half of his HP at this point and has been forced to use his healing potion. And, oh wow, just sent one of his own orcs flying. On the right side, he's acting as a pretty good line anchor here. I wonder what his mass is, considering how big he is here. He's at 2.5k mass, eh? Not a crazy amount. Funnily enough, in the Thorgrim campaign, we've gotten a couple units of Dragon Slayers, which are like, I don't know, a tenth the size of Gorbad on Pig with exactly the same amount of mass, 2.5k. And I think that was without Rune of Grimnir, so possibly get them even higher. That's the plan anyway. Still things to try in the Dwarf campaign as well. Anyway, for now, it's the Orcs, and they are still very much in the fight against the Halberdiers and Great Swords, who are doing pretty darn well here. Tried to send in the Night Goblin War Boss to help out, and have moved out a few of the Orc boys as they have been taking a fair bit of damage. We've also started to send a few WAAAGH units to climb the walls, and our pin-cushioning units of range are trying to knock out that Bright Wizard, who's currently embroiled in a fight against those WAAAGH-based goblins. Though not for much longer by the looks of it, as the wizard is nearly done for. The arrows just keep on flying, and he's down to 54 HP, and surprisingly, not shattered. He is going to fight to the death instead, huh? I wonder if he was unbreakable there. Gorbad is also, by the looks of it, defeated an Empire captain who has dared to charge towards him, and is now down to no HP. As Gorband gives him one last final blow with the backhand of his axe. Alright, very nice. And we got more piggies on the way, as the Boar Boys have now joined the fight and ready to help out against those darn halberdiers and great swords. Of course, that's a lot of anti-large, and the crossbows will continue firing away at us. But slowly but surely, we should be able to overrun these guys and then break through. Now, this is the critical moment of this particular battle, because these great swords and halberds are preventing our fast movers from effectively moving inside the enemy settlement, which, as we can see, it's mostly enemy range now remaining. And as soon as we break through here, it's going to be a bad time, let's say, for all those crossbows, though we keep launching spells at them as well, so it's not a great time for them, as it already is. And it looks like our Orc Shaman is down to about 35% of his HP. Pretty bad. Those miscasts just keep on coming. And Gorbad has finally made his way to the front of the line to join the rest of his piggies on the offensive, and it looks like the last of the great swords are just about to fall. Not quite as unbreakable as that Bright Wizard, but still fighting nearly to the last man. Annoying camera due to the sort of pathing. All that aside, though, it looks like finally we are going to manage to make it through. Oh, I like this lighting as well. Everything is nice and visible. And there we go, well done to Gorbad, those great swords are out, and well, I don't imagine they'll be coming back. It also means that we're ready to move against all of those crossbows which have been firing away at us and this entire time. Granted, their numbers have dwindled due to repeated hits from our various spells, Brain Burst, Headbutt, and Foot of Gork primarily. And there we go. Obviously, archers and crossbows and huntsmen and whatever is in here stand no chance against boar boys, but it does look like the enemy master engineer is still in the fight, and this guy's got splash damaging attacks. And by the looks of it, doing fairly decent damage as well. 32 kills and 5.3k damage on him. Pretty darn good. Ooh, we also got a mortar firing away at us, so while the crossbows and huntsmen may not be serving too much of a purpose in terms of dishing out any more range damage as they're tied up now, what they are doing is blocking us off and allowing the grenade launcher of the Master Engineer and those mortars to still fall amongst our troops. Mount's power has shifted to about 85, maybe even 90% in our favor. Still a fair few units of gobos and other such Y units making their way up the walls. It's taking them a while though. But slowly but surely they'll overrun the unit of halberdiers down here, and we will surround and destroy them. And I think this might be the last of the melee units available on field. There was another one here, but I think it was a rallied unit that got obliterated. Boar boys trying to head through the huntsman here. There's a lot of huntsmen here as well. Lots of anti-large arrows. But anyway, head through those huntsmen rather than fighting them directly. Got to get to those mortars to silence them for good. And there we go with that. The mortar crew is at least off of the artillery pieces. Gorbad, I believe, has found the enemy lord, or actually no, the Night Goblin War Boss has found the enemy lord. Well, we haven't seen the Night Goblin War Bosses fight yet, so may as well. Pretty much everybody is towering over the little guy, whether it be the manlings or the Yumis, I should say. I got a little bit too used to dwarfs, but yeah, the Yumis or the boars or whatnot. Anyway, Gorbad has arrived at last, once again knocking one of his own minions down and away so that he can land a proper blow on the enemy lord, who is done for. And with the Lord having shattered, it looks like with that, the battle is ours. The Citadel of Mermidia falls, and will be occupied. Lovely. A really, really fun fight. Nice to break through the gate, and the enemy was certainly able to hold this area for quite a while, especially with that great sword halberdier combo. Nice. Alrighty, a very, very nice fight. Gotta love those early game scraps for scrap, but those early game sieges, always a blast. One of the biggest problems in the siege was, though our orc shaman was doing great damage, he was constantly miscasting, and I also, to my error, went a little bit too hard on that forbidden rod. Phrasing ruinous. Also Slanesh giggle, but yeah, he took a lot of damage from a combination of miscasts and the forbidden rod, but he did manage to dish out 61,000 damage and 426 kills, which is pretty darn solid. Gorbad was always front and center, getting 76 kills and 7,600 damage. Of course, he also spent a lot of that time dueling the enemy Empire captain, followed by later on the enemy lord and the great swords, all that sort of stuff. So a good job to everybody involved. A little bit of damage, though, a lot of damage, or most damage dealt, of course, by the Ruglet's armored orcs. And admittedly, the tactical boys did pretty well. We are, actually, speaking of the tactical boys, okay, first of all, we will occupy the place, much as I'd love to. Hey, we got a greenskin dogs here. Nice. Alrighty, enemy killed in battle, potion of foolhardiness, and Snagla's death thrower. Frankly, even though it's not going to stay in this army, it might be a good idea to actually make use of it, just so that we have a couple of artillery pieces until we change those. The plan, lead to charge, tactic, new tactic unlocked. And it doesn't show us immediately what it does, so we have to find it wherever it is in here. And it's not one of these, it's this one. With Boar Boys, it gives us plus 25% unit mass and then Devastating Flanker, which unfortunately we already have in this army, but it will, I'm sure, be a very useful thing to have in other armies. Between the episodes, I did take a look at the various plans, just to have an idea of what some of them were, and there's some really, really interesting ones in here. I can't wait to try out just so many. I think it's going to be a very fun campaign. Anyway, you are nowhere near rank 12. Okay, so no leveling for you. But what we do want to do is this. Where is you? Blorg. Grab Erd Mentality for now. Make use of that plan. And then grab... I guess it's the only one we can do. Well, darn. And I take it you can't do anything... No solo plan, eh? Well, that's unfortunate. Basically, what I was wondering was whether we could grab a couple of additional tactical boys while we're waiting. And it would be nice to do so. You currently... okay, wait. Your plans currently require you to have 2 work boys. Okay, well, that one we have to have. Power of Dawa, we're keeping... 2 squig herds and then 2 missile units would in theory allow the other guy to get a couple of tactical boys, eh? Alright, so we need to transfer him 1 squig and then 2 archers. Alright, fair enough. I wonder if Gelt is nearby, but anyway. You go here. Oh, you can't reach each other. Well, darn. Alright, I guess I'll have to recruit next turn. And... you could raid our own territory. Ugh, minus 30, though. That's a little bit steep. You know what? Stay here. The 0 is better than minus 20. I could get it positive, but I'm not so sure that it's super necessary. What is necessary, absolutely necessary, is that we build the boss's tent here. And probably something else. And the question is what? Do we want any military structures here? We're not yet ready to get a new army up and running because we don't have the money for it, but we could always get units for the other guys. You know, go for the Raiden stashes for now because we need these everywhere, but we'll keep an eye on that. We're not doing anything with the K's, but we can get the Raiden hideout. Or we could upgrade one of these. Okay, Wissenheim, you have... oh, right, I was going to trade you to potentially get money from these guys and then trade, but it's seeming like it's not worth it at only 2k. Can I give it to... we can't give it to the Red Horn tribe either. Oh, right, we checked last time and we can't get an alliance with them, which is a real shame, because I felt like Beastman units would actually work fairly nicely with our own units, especially things like Cygors. Get a little bit of a monstrous artillery or artillery monsters in there, but oh well. Alright, fine. We should probably recruit some stuff here as well. You can maybe get 4 squigs. And yes, I'm going very heavy on the squigs in the early game, heavier than I would have thought, but at the same time... oh! Huh. Tactical boys can be recruited globally for nothing. Well, that's really interesting. Make use of that. Anyway, we want a squig army up and running fairly quickly, and the squigs that we have that will survive will evolve over time, so that's certainly something we want to do. Anyway, any other upgrades here? Okay, yes to the upgrade for the Raiden hideout, and I think that's all we got. This will be a military structure, but we don't know which one it is as yet, and we don't have money for anything else, so we'll skip, and I guess we'll end the turn. I'm a little bit concerned that Gelt will come out, but nah, I don't think he can travel far enough to actually attack us. We should be okay. Alright, looks like Gelt has not yet showed up, eh? Alright, fine. I think we spotted him down here previously, though, wait. Military presence 2, military presence 2. Okay, so I see no military presence. Interesting. Well, you Toranrock and Circle of the Sun. I guess we'll go for Circle of the Sun next because it's the closest, though it's kind of we're kind of in a weird position. Now we got a Savage Orc host here. Good idea to get a Savage Orc army started shortly anyway. You're gonna go here, Gorbad. And we'll head to the Circle of the Sun shortly. We will also want to recruit 2 of those tactical boys. So in that light, you are going to take from Gorbad a couple of units. That will be able to come in as reinforcements, I think. No, take the 2 arrow boys because they're about to be replaced by 2 tactical boys anyway. Gorbad, you will recruit 2 tactical boys as soon as we do this. Erd Mentality here. And that should give us the ability to get 2 more. Beautiful. Alrighty, and then we'll probably just straight up scrap upgrade them fairly early. At the cost of others, but anyway. What level do you need to be become a biggin? A rank 5. Ooh, okay, so we'll be stuck with the regular orc boys for a while until they're ready to be ranked up. Fair enough. Probably not, huh. I assume that we don't get scrap upgrades back if we upgrade a unit, meaning we probably shouldn't upgrade basic units until unless we're actually willing to keep them. Gotta keep that in mind. Anyway, Blorg. Besiege Brovska. Brovska, Blorg, no, that doesn't work. I was wondering whether we could rename it to something like that, but anyway. Oh, we have a Goblin Bolter in the WAAAGH, that's good. We could, in theory, attack this. We could also give them a chance to sally out. But you know what, let's give it a turn. You can move into raiding stance and then reinforce at Brovska. And who knows, more enemies might show up. We'll also want to level you can have Inspiring Presence, and then I guess you can have... you have the boys, which is necessary. You're kind of in a type of army that could do anything. And I think that the orc war bosses don't buff anything other than orky infantry, whether it be missile or melee, and the buff isn't even all that much. So basically this army can do anything. Whereas the Night Gobbo armies, as somebody pointed out in the comments last episode, want to do Night Gobbo and Squigs, especially the Squig Hoppers, because they double dip into the buffs. And it's quite nice. Though the Dagobbo's buff does not, Yeah, so unfortunately the Rider's buff is kind of terrible, but at least the Dagobbo's one is nice. Obviously, we'll want a full Squig army. You're not going to be leading a full Squig army because you're specifically a Troll army unit, but what you can do is lead Night Goblins because they will combine nicely with your Vanguard deploying Trolls and whatever else we decide to put in there. Anyway, we got a little bit of cash again. Let's check out our money making, such as it is. I was looking for any more upgrades. I mean, I guess we could upgrade Somjuk for the port. It does generate growth and money. Or we could upgrade one of the raiding hideouts here. Never a bad idea to upgrade a raiding hideout, I guess. Oh, although, minus 15 due to provincial instability, which is happening because we're not raiding. I guess we can't collect money in here, at least not until the boss's tent is up and running, so we'll leave it as that it currently is and upgrade Somjuk instead, with whatever money we have. Alright. I'd really love to get more money by trading territories to other factions. I'm out of curiosity. If we were to give you Wissenheim, you would give us 8,000 gold, which is pretty good. Certainly an option to give it to these guys and leave it as a barrier here. And just allow them to hold on to it until we either directly confederate them or until we, beat up Grotzlik and then do it that way. Certainly a decent option. I'll think about it. For now, though, we'll besiege. We'll see these guys sally out and we'll end the turn. Alrighty, looks like Gelty is right beside us. Now the question, ooh, right, he's got a Hellstorm rocket battery. That's gonna be a toughie. Ooh, I'm excited about that, if nothing else. See whether we can handle it. Anyway, Muncha Edbutt, you're gonna move on in. Gorbad, and just double check that this guy's not in the way, and he's not. You are still able to reach Gelty. Ooh, if we could get his defeat rate on both of these guys without killing him here, well, that would be nice. That would be real nice. Alrighty, before we jump on in, you are not ready to mangle yet, eh? Alright, if we upgrade, we might lose our movement range, which ain't great, but I'm pretty sure we wouldn't lose it if we scrap upgrade, because it's just a stat change and not a unit change, so... better bows, and better bows. Alright, beautiful. And Boarboy Biggins, we could in theory apply some scrap upgrades to you. The only options we have are the armor and speed. I gotta go with the armor and speed, because this increases with kills, and if these guys don't get kills, well, they can get to killing by getting those armor upgrades. So 35 for you, and scrap saddles for you. I don't know, I said 35, and whatever, you know what I mean. Anyway, you need to be rank 6 to become a pump wagon. Really? Rank 6 to be a flapper. Unless SFO vastly changed Flappas, they're still going to be horrifically inferior compared to Spiky Rollers, so really this should be like a level 3 upgrade to Flappas and then a level 6 upgrade to Snotling Pump Wagons. That is at least fair. Anyway, Gorbad, we're going to upgrade your mage, Steve, to get that miscast chance reduction. He was suffering a lot, and I'm not sure, but Gelt might have some kind of miscast causing ability. Why risk it, right? Let's see if he fights.
Order is dismissed.
You're not fighting, Gelt. You little coward. I was genuinely expecting you to stay. We can't ambush you, unfortunately. So you could go into an ambush.
I'll ignore that.
Yeah, you ignored that. Maybe if this guy's not there, he'll be a little bit more willing to fight? I don't think so, but we could always attempt to use Muncha Edbutt as a bait next turn. Come on, Gelt. You're better than this. These guys, however, did not sally out. Alright, well, that's fine by us, I suppose. It's time to move on in. We will not upgrade anything else because we don't yet know what we're doing with this army. Though, unless I'm mistaken, man, let me just check this real quick. I think there was a... And just to start planning this army out, I think that there was a combination for trolls and orc boys. Now, I don't know if that counts biggins or only regular boys. Savage orcs, I must have missed it. Black orcs and orc boars, orc infantry, unstoppable and movable object. Am I crazy? I swear I saw it. It might be in one of the other traits, though. Oh. Ah, here. No. It was the first one. I'm sorry, okay? Killed 750 enemies units with troll units. That's actually should be fairly easy to do. You just need trolls. Fair enough. Smashers for trolls and blockers for orc infantry. And it's any orc infantry as long as there's... Oh, that's actually very strong. Huh. I wonder if it counts missile infantry. Wait, oh, it shows here. It actually counts Ruggled's armored orcs and black orcs. Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be very solid. Stone trolls and blockers. That's real nice. Alright, this is a extremely strong buff. The actual buff to the trolls is kind of irrelevant, but 15% ward save for any kind of orc infantry is fantastic. And the fact that it includes orc missile infantry as well is quite nice. Anyway, ignoring all that for now, we're gonna go on in and do the actual battle. Plus, we got a siege tower, 2 siege towers, and a battering ram. Why not make use of them? Oh, Razor Standard. Yeah, I guess we can hold on to it, and then, you know what, and give it to one of the other orcs so that they can level up more. We'll probably give that to Gorbad because, you know, he needs the best for more tactical things. Go. Alrighty, sounds like Mr. Blorg didn't even say anything. He just went, wow, as his pre-battle speech, and you know what? I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, Blorg looking pretty good up here, but Lassie can't get into combat for a fair bit as we have to head towards the enemy settlement with our siege towers. Though I do still think that there should be archers or something up on top, firing down on the enemy as they close us. But we even have a little, Merlin to cover behind. Granted, a decent amount of those arrows would have landed on top of these things, but nonetheless. Anyway, the siege towers continue towards the enemy. I wonder how these things are being pushed. I would have expected Orky siege towers to actually be pushed or something, but I guess there is some kind of... supposed to be some kind of mechanism in there, some kind of ingenious goblin mechanism, I suppose. Anyway, it's going to take a little bit for them to reach the enemy wall, and you know what, let's just speed it up as they trundle on over, especially having to go uphill, and it's going to take them even longer than that. Ooh, looks like Blorg takes a couple of hits from the enemy, I was going to say error boys, crossbows and whatever's up there. But our towers do move in and get ready to disgorge their troops up on top of the wall. Alright, Gorbad got his chance to do a siege battle. Let's see how Blorg does at his. And ooh, the enemy does have a mortar back there, as well as I believe 2 built towers, one a tier 3 and one a tier 1. I think at the very least the tier 1 should be able to reach us in addition to the mortar, and we are liable to take a fair few shots like this, so you gotta be careful. Oh, that was a nice shot directly into the center of our blob and not hitting any of these guys. Alright, that one was a little bit worse. Hitting some of the enemies as well, but yeah, that single mortar is going to do a lot of work here just by itself. I'm just gonna have to do our best to clear those walls. Looks like the gate has been broken through now, and Mr. Blorg, as well as the first unit of orc boys, will start moving on through. And trying to engage whatever units are in there. Blorg's gonna charge on in. Swing away at a few of the enemy units, but his goal isn't actually to help these guys fight or even to provide his aura. His goal is to go past everything here and head directly for that unit of mortars, as well, at the current time there's nothing else really that can help out. Blorg was able to use his mass to break through, but the unit of swordsmen is now very well surrounding the gate, or around the gate, and has plugged the breach such that we can't get through. The mortar is still firing and dishing out horrendous damage to our poor orc boys, who are desperately fighting up on top of the walls. Explosions from those mortars and towers everywhere as well, and it looks like at least one of our units of orc boys, in fact it looks like both of them, are nearly done for. That's alright though, we do have more orc boys and some gobos where that came from, so we're going to send the orc boys up the towers, and maybe even send the gobos to climb those walls. In the meantime, it looks like the war boss Blorg has woven through the enemies that were blocking him, and is now trying to reach that mortar. Squigs have arrived, and while I'm sure they would over time be able to dish out enough damage to bring down that unit of swordsmen around the gate, and in fact it looks like a decent amount of them have been cleared as we've opened a path through the unit or two that's here. We just gotta make sure, or we just gotta hope that oh, there we go. These squigs are unfortunately out of control, and I do say unfortunately because the plan here was to push them right through as they've opened a gap in the enemy line. So we're just going to have to wait until they stop rampaging. On the bright side though, Blorg has made it at last. There is a unit of spears ready to surround him and protect the mortar unit. But it will take a while for the spears to kill him, and the crews are still forced into the melee, so Blorg is just going to have to keep chopping away at them with his big old chopper. And hopefully he'll dish out enough damage to the enemy crew. In the meantime, it looks like the rampage has stopped, and it's time for the Squig Tide to enter the enemy summit. The first unit has made it through the gap in the line, and we're just going to keep the gap there as we keep sending more and more squigs into the enemy settlement. Between our main army under Blorg and the second one, there's 8 units of squig herds in here. Granted, they're only squig herds, they're the weakest of the squiglings, and their stats 26-20, pretty low. Armor is fairly low as well. However, they are still fighting basic infantry and basic missile infantry as well, which these squigs should still be able to destroy without hopefully too much trouble. At the very least, they should have the numbers, if nothing else, as soon as they actually enter the settlement. Alright, good job, little squiggies. We got a lot more where that came from as well. We've also moved in a unit of goblin archers to fire sort of parallel to the enemy's deployment here, which should be doing pretty good work, as it's been tough to try to clear out these walls with only the orc boys fighting. There is some nice buffs in the plans for regular orc boys as well, it seems, and the nice thing about that is, I think generally speaking in Gorbad's campaign, between the plans and the tactics, or the plans and the scrap upgrades rather, we should even have some armies that use basic units powered up and changed via those means, which we normally wouldn't do for most other lords, as in they just get, out-teched. Not really generally much point to use regular orc boys when you can use biggins or later black orcs, but at the very least biggins. But when you have the ability to change them significantly with plans and with scrap, that changes. I want to see some regular gobos, some forest gobos, some night gobos, all the gobos of the world. Instead of just the sort of highest tier of the upgrades. Should keep the various armies pretty interesting. Anyway, Blorg has clearly made it back to his line, which means the enemy mortars have grown silent. Otherwise, the Squig Tide has made it through and is now obliterating the enemy missile and melee infantry alike. And though, of course, these squigs periodically go into out of control, into rampage, they're doing just fine. Again, when there's like 5 squigs to a man, it's gonna be a problem. Not for this, and not for the squigs. Alright, very, very nice. The balance of power has shifted to about 90% in our favor now. Oh, look at Blorg among his squigs. Now I feel bad that that it's going to be the night goblins that are going to be using these particular squigs. But I'm sure, I mean, we'll be putting squigs into a bunch of armies. And obviously various kinds of squigs. Obviously there will be the pure Squig Tide army that's going to be all squigs and nothing else. But there will be other things. Other armies to take advantage of the various different squig bioforms. Alrighty, and the bounce power continues to climb, 95% now. A new unit of swordsmen has arrived to attempt to hold back the tide of squigs, but I don't imagine it's going to be much more effective. And then the rest of the enemies are, and these squigs overrun this poor little unit of pikes. But I don't think they're escaping this one either, and with them I do believe the enemy army will shatter and the battle will be ours. Very nice. Ah, there we go, they got that Erd mentality up and running. Effect increases intensity with each Squig herd unit in range. It doesn't say up to how many. I'm going to assume that one Squig herd is 20%, meaning you need 5 Squig herds nearby. Still very nice. These guys are unbreakable, but I swear one of the other ones actually routed. Oh, but I guess it didn't have enough squigs nearby, or it didn't have another squig herd nearby. Yeah, this one routed and went through the gates and then came back. In fact, I think it's still routing and running away. But anyway, very nice fight. I love to see the early form of the Squig Tide as some of these squigs grow, become mangler squigs, become colossal squigs, become squig herders, hoppers, whatever. Good stuff. Ah, the glory of Squig Tide. It is just so dang fun. Effective? I don't know about that, at least in the for sieges, but hey, if it works, it works, I guess. Anyway, looks like that mortar was really dishing it out. 22,000 damage before Blorg himself had to step in and cut the crew down, and good job weaving through all of those enemy units within the settlement, and that effectively won us the battle, allowed us a long enough time to find purchase within the enemy settlement and get the Squig Tide through, and then they promptly ate everyone in the city, which is a fun time for everyone. That is a squig. Anyway, close victory for us. Well done, Blorg and the Squiggies. Ooh. Dibs on the band name. Anyway, we will, I guess, occupy. There's a decent likelihood that we trade the place away. Ah, it's got a biggin and Orcera boy constructy building. Could certainly do that, but yeah, I was thinking we give it to these guys just temporarily, although I guess we could do the same thing with these other territories. They're still not willing to peace out, eh? Huh. And the other option would be to go to Karazakar. Here's the thing, we need to go through this territory in order to get right here and then punch Grimgor in the face in order to get him on field early. So obviously, we need Gorbad to do that himself, because there ain't no way Blorg is going to achieve bringing down Grimgor. The problem is, we're busy with Balthasar Gelt, and even after we were done being busy with Balthasar, Gelt, what'll happen is that the elves will declare war on us, and considering our proximity to Iron Rock, considering our proximity to Iron Rock, we will want to get that mutiny out of there, so it is a little bit iffy as to how long we have until we can go over there. But anyway, the tactics are fine. I guess we don't need to get new ones right now. Brovska, I don't know whether we want to build anything, but at least for now, build... Oh, we could build the Squig Chain. It is expensive, but maybe we build it and trade it afterwards. Ah, the Mangler Squigs are expensive, but we're on the way to Squig Army, damn it. And this guy could command the Squigs until we find a better Night Goblin war boss to command them. And the thing is, Cunningness doesn't really help in terms of his army. Also, let's take a look at what other things that we have here. I do like Debaucius, but it's probably not as good as the upkeep reduction thing, because we're gonna need that. Decrepius is definitely something we want, because we'll definitely have a nice spider army, especially with those spider tactics. And Delacius ain't too bad either. Don't really care for the Shroomius because it's kind of mad, generally speaking. But anyway, I believe that's it. And we don't have any more money to waste, unfortunately, so we're not gonna. You can go into regular stance, I guess. Not raiding stance, because we may want to keep this for a little bit while we continue annoying these guys. Can we build any cheap gobos, maybe? Can you guys be upgraded into night gobos? You can. Although... I feel like that shouldn't be a thing, because they're pretty different. Oh, you can become nasty skulkers as well. They're not that expensive at 125. Well, frankly, night goblins aren't all that expensive either, to be fair. Alright, well, that's a good reason to build some cheap gobos. We'll do, I think, spear gobos, because they have an extra 25 or 5 melee defense. It's not like we're expecting the gobos to do damage. It's, oh, wow, that'll bankrupt us. Never mind. Let's skip, and I guess we'll end the turn. See what Gelty does. And then try to hunt him down or bait him into attacking Gorbad, I guess. Anyway, end turn. Faction destroyed, Burning Wind Nomads. I don't see why we'd care. Ambush foiled, but irrelevant. Put on your Luton pants. I always wear my Luton pants. Gorbad, can you catch Gelt? I don't know. I guess we'll give it a shot. Would be really nice if you could. Let's just run at him. He's gonna move this way. Can we reach him afterwards? Come on, stop. Ah, too far? Just slightly too far? Not slightly too far, yes. It does mean we won't be able to kill him twice to get Muncha the defeat trait as well, but it's, well, Gorbad needs it more. I mean, he doesn't really need it, but he wants it more. Everybody wants it. You know, he might be able to come back. I mean, he does have... It'll take a fair few turns. Maybe. Maybe we'll still be able to get it. Anyway, Gelty time. I got a guilty conscience. Anyway, the rocket battery, high-level rocket battery, that's going to be annoying. He has plenty of magics as well, so we're going to have to watch out for those Gehenna's Golden Hounds and Searing Doom spams, which are going to be devastating to our Orky line. Maybe our Rugloods and Tacticals can shoot him down. Anyway, before we start the battle real quick, for those unfamiliar with the way we do things on the channel, we do an engagement threshold, which means depending on engagement, or the engagement will determine how long episodes in the campaign are. So, for example, if this episode gets 500 likes and 70 comments, the next episode will be an hour-ish. Hour adjacent is the term I've started using in length. I know it's annoying, and it's annoying to have to keep mentioning it and yada yada yada, but it is unfortunately the way that YouTube works. Engagement and algorithm is everything, so just gotta live with it because of the nature of the platform, so I hope it don't annoy you too much. Anyway, let's do this fight. I think it'll be fun. Go. Ooh, alrighty, there we go. Starting the battle off with a little bit of artillery, magical and mundane, as a Gaze of Mork hits the Hellstorm rocket batteries and actually manages to knock 2 of the artillery pieces out. If one of those shots hadn't hit a Gorbad in the back, and then it probably would have knocked out another one. I would think. Anyway, Gorbad continues to make his way forward, and we really got to make sure that we knock that artillery piece out. It's taking too long for the bolt throwers to do it, so we're just going to apply a foot of Gork, which, or is it a foot of Mork, whichever, which will wipe the unit out for good. This will allow us to advance while Mr. Gorbad gives chase to Balthasar Gelt. He's not on Quicksilver, his Pegasus, and thus, well, all he can do is try to run away. He's not going to be able to fight Gorbad in a one-on-one. Alright, in the meantime, the rest of our army is moving in. Our fast movers are looping around the enemy. We got 2 units of the Snotling Pump Wagons, a couple of Squig Herds, and 2 of our units of Boar Boy Biggins as well. Plus, of course, we now have 5 units of range. So that's 4 tactical boys, and then, of course, the 1 Ruglad's Armored Orcs, which together should be pretty nice. Looks like Mr. Balthasar Gelt hits us with a nice big old Searing Doom upon those Orc boys, which lose about half their HP, and it looks like following after his master, the apprentice uses the same spell, Searing Doom, upon them again, pretty much destroying the unit. I mean, not wiping them out, but at the very least, forcing them to back off. In the meantime, it looks like the Boar boys have smashed into an enemy units of Empire Knights, but the first unit of Boar Boy Biggins is merely a distraction, as they have smashed into them, blocked them, and then allowed the second unit of Boar Boy Biggins to smash into them as well. Very nice. With that, the Empire Knights are surrounded, and we will be able to rip them apart. Of course, the regular Boar Boys are anti-infantry, whereas Savage Orc Boar Boys are anti-large. But, well, 2 of them fighting an Empire Knight unit, which is a pretty darn fragile unit of cavalry in general. We'll see them win without too much trouble, I'd wager. Our other fast movers have arrived, a unit of Squigs and a unit of Pump Wagons. Have smashed their way into 2 units of crossbows together, and will prevent them from firing and start tearing through them without too much trouble, I'd wager, especially as the other melee units are busy. Our Ruglad's Armored Orcs and Tactical Boys are still shooting up the enemy great swords and halberdiers, basically whatever key targets they can find. And the battle is certainly turning in our favor. Most of the enemy units are distracted now, and ooh, yeah, the enemy looks like they're going to pop a Gehenna's Golden Hounds, and in order to kill 1 unit of Orc boys, they're going to sacrifice 2 units of their own spears. Oh, AI, that is so tremendously rude. You're not Skaven, would you really wipe out that many of your own troops just to annoy the player? And of course, the AI doesn't have to consider things like, you know, recruiting and upkeep and all of that. It doesn't care about its units. Another Gaze of Mork comes in and hits somebody. Ooh, and it looks like Gorbad will actually back away. Oh, I think I just activated the healing potion too late. I activated it and then he started running. Should have done so when he was closer to half HP rather than when he was at like 20%. Not that that's a big deal, mind you. He'll keep healing and then he'll come right back. And by the looks of it, we don't even need him to come back, as with that, the last of the enemy army will shatter, and the battle will be ours. Systematically destroyed by the looks of it. We did take a lot of damage to our regular Orc boy line, but in a pinch, our tactical boys could have very much fought in melee, as they have a solid 54 melee attack, and pretty decent armor as well. Armor about to be even more decent, as we get the Balthasar Gelt plus 10 armor defeat trait. Alright, very nice. We were able to knock out Gelt and, more importantly, his rocket battery before the rocket battery could do anything. Of course, Gelt was casting 11,000 damage on him and 12,000 on his pet gold wizard, but at the end of the day, it was focused primarily on the regular Orc boys, and we were perfectly fine taking hits to them. Now, that's what they're there for. Granted, the Orc boys are rather weak, and they get torn apart even by the swordsmen and great swords, at least until the WAAAGH comes around, as we don't have sufficient buffs or veterancy on them as yet, so we do have to be careful. Ooh, 2.4k money or solid healing. We are admittedly in our own territory, so we will heal a little bit. That's a decent amount of money, damn it. I think we have to take the money. Alright, take the money and just keep being perpetually damaged while we run around. Ransom captives.
Let the gates live. They can tell.
Alright, enemy killed in battle, enemy killed in battle. Scroll of Blast, Metal Storm. That's what we wanted. Research rate plus 10 and armor plus 10. The big one. Anyway, I guess we're going to the Circle of the Sun, and, well, we can hope that we can reach it if you go into What?
Till I say so.
Okay, did anybody else see that? I switched to March stance and we got less movement range than we had before. What the heck? Okay, that was real weird, game. That was real weird and I don't appreciate it. But what can you do? I guess we'll build the boss's shack. Can't collect money yet. Even with the boss's shack, well, until we have the entire province, we won't be able to. But what we can do is keep building those raiden hideouts, as every single one gives us additional post-battle loot faction-wide, and thus every... What are you? What is this? Are you raiding our territory? What the heck are you doing, man? We have a non-aggression pact and you're friendly. Okay. We can maybe betray them later. I guess we can give them Wissenheim, as we are not looking to... use the recruitment right now. Alright, fine. Take Wissenheim. We'll take it back. It's just that right now it doesn't... Oh. It's less money than it was before. Join our war against these guys, against the North Confederacy, and take the money. And if we're gaining nothing out of this, I'd rather you give us this. Yes. Like so. Maybe with that they will decide not to raid us, and at the same time let's give them a get the heck out of here thing. Now, the get the heck out of thing makes us not have to suffer a penalty for breaking non-aggression pacts and trade agreements. Is this the... No, it's Grotzlik. Okay. We gotta find the enemy lord. So, that was a decent amount of money. We can maybe hold on to Brovsk at least for now, though as to whether we continue to hold on to it remains to be seen. You guys can hold on to your units as well. We can get Biggins here, but it's the... Oh. Will we still be able to get basic gobos? We will. Okay, good. Alright, start moving. You know what? I guess we'll want to heal up a little bit more, so we'll go raiding camp even if it is in our own territory, just for the heals. You will not raiding camp. We will, however, build some more gobos. And I assume that's a hidden beastman encampment that we're seeing there. I'm not sure what else it could be. Anyway, let's do 2 gobos. We can't do too many because we need the money. Next up, speaking of money, and we need to spend it. Yes to the raiden hideout, and I mean we could get the captives pits. It is more control. More control means more potential money. And oh, Zvorak, we can build the Horde here. Yeah, all right, let's do the Horde. And we'll do the captives pit. Eventually, the captives pits in our old provinces will be replaced by more money-making buildings. And probably towers, but for now, they're needed. Alrighty, now this place is good. It's currently our money-making territory, if it can be called such. Eventually, we won't need those because we will be making money through post-battle loot, but we obviously are not there yet. Alrighty, anyway, we should probably upgrade. Do spices do anything for us? No. And yes, I did check that last episode. You know what? Let's upgrade Brasov. Why Brasov? It has the pastures, which will give us cheaper, better spider recruitment. And we'll want to start on a spider army relatively soon. Spiders and forest goblins at the very least to start. Hopefully we'll get a nice goblin shaman. Well, actually, this goblin shaman will probably lead that army. Frankly, it might behoove us to get you on field maybe next turn. I don't want to lose this guy, because who knows? What if he don't come back? Anyway, let us end the turn. Building upgrades, end turn. Alright, ambusher discovered, so yes indeed, that was the Beastman army, but they're not here at Zenrais, so I guess we'll take it, sack it, whatever. We don't want to advance further this way because, I mean, while we do want to advance further this way, we're not ready for it yet. Anyway, ambusher discovered, diplomatic relations with Greenskins, helpful in the early game, and tactic removed. Which tactic? For Azdrag One Finger. Oh, it was this, the squiggy one. Alright, yeah, you can get that back up and running. Oh, you can get it back up and running next turn. Unless I want the... I mean, yes, we want Erd Mentality. Unbreakable. Huh. Wait, I saw them routing. I'm not sure that they are unbreakable. Odd. Range 55 meters, duration infinity, melee defense up to 20, damage resistance up to 20. And is this any kind of squig units? For squig herd units specifically. Interesting. Well, either way, tactic removed, Gorbad. Okay, you just lost both his tactics. I guess we can wait until next turn to get them back up and running. I mean, they'll be on cooldown anyway. Gotta get to those infinite tactics. Anyway, looks like you can't reach Circle of the Sun, so we'll move into Raiden Camp, into enemy territory. You can do the same and follow. No need to recruit anything because we can't really. And there we go, with the rating it's a lot cheaper. Our army upkeep drops significantly and we get a lot of money. But we gotta keep doing what we're doing down here because there's a bunch of things we want. We want Ekrund and we want this thing and we want this guy dead. Hopefully we can just link up with WAAAGH relatively soon. Oh, there's also Skaven here. Can't let them sit in Ekrund though. We'll see. I don't want to go too far south because I don't want to do the Badlands again, but I do want to head into the Empire. On the other hand, every extra turn the Empire has to build isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm just going to skip it on the turn. Wait, no, I lied. We're going to go to Zenrace. And what do we have here in terms of defenses? Okay, this one I think we can just auto-resolve. You can reinforce it, though. In raiding camp stands. And we'll sack it. Especially since we can't trade it to these guys. So yeah, we'll wait. What is Vitrol? It is occupied by nobody. Okay, well, we don't want to overextend right now, so we'll auto-resolve this. Just double checking that the squiggies won't die, but it looks like they're okay. We will sack the place. Like so. Lovely, and we got an Armor of Fortune out of it. Very, very nice. And you guys can stay in this territory, and you can go into raiding camp and stay here. Keep getting the XP and stuff on your units and your army. Alright, we will have to head to Barak Var relatively soon as well, as these guys will doubtless declare war on us and then head to Somjak, which can't defend itself. Ugh, none of our places can defend themselves, to be perfectly frank. But anyway. We do have money. Maybe we can get another building going? Of some kind. Let's build a horde all the way up to it, and frankly the boss pole is nice, the additional HP and whatever is nice, but I think we'll get the money or possibly the goblin sawmills. It includes greenskin spear infantry, so that's nice, even if it ain't much. But it'll mean that this place will be the ideal place to recruit, and that's why we have the Snotling pump wagons, because it allows us to get them cheaper. Yes. Alrighty, and might as well upgrade this thing as well. And get this ability to build spiky roll, as they're a big, hard-hitting early game unit. Kypros is fine for now. Maybe you should upgrade Matorka. Yeah, let's upgrade Matorka. And then River Treblex. So you're fine as you are. I'm actually inclined to say, how much is a chaos worth to these guys? 5,000 gold? We'll never be friends, but it's easy to give them the territory and allow them to use it and then take it back, because it's not doing anything for us, because it's not doing anything for us. You know what? Yeah, I like it. A chaos. Never bother with useless territory, like so. They'll enjoy that, and frankly, we don't care about our other greenskin factions not liking this because, well, we could just beat them up until they join us anyway, so. It works nicely. Let's upgrade Moslak as well. What if Citadel of Mermidia? I would love to start collecting income here soon, and then Brovska we will leave alone. We may or may not just trade it to these gobos to get a little territory around us. End turn. Are these battle sites or are these beastmen? What the heck what is this? That's not, This is strange. Anyway, first of all, Gorbad. First, you're gonna get Gorbad's boys, equip it, and Power of WAAAGH, equip it. No, I hate how it doesn't automatically switch. We'll have to redo Gorbad's boys. Waste of a plan, my bad. That's the somethingth time that's happened. Shoot the runts. Oh. That's actually fairly nice, and it's for all missile and artillery units. That's actually probably better than the thing I just screwed up with. I mean, I do like the Orc Boars and Orc Boys and Orc Boar Boys reductions. Yeah, see, what I don't like here is it doesn't specify which Boar Boys get the benefit of the Wait, actually, next time we get it, we will double check whether the biggins get the Gorbad's boys trait, or whether it is only applied or applicable to the non-biggins. Anyway, Circle of the Sun is poorly defended, and thus we don't need to attack it. I mean, with Gorbad directly. So Gorbad, you're gonna go here. Then we will have you, Mancha Edbutt. Go here. I'll resolve this. And occupy. And then we will... Let's care for a banner. What would you get? I got a little goblin big boss army. What do we have here? Backstab, a devastating flanker for nasty skulkers. Flanking immune for goblins squigs. Hello. And missile block 360. Huh. Does that actually do anything for squigs? Because they can't block missiles, so unless you have something that gives them a chance to block missiles. I see that armored squig hoppers don't have a shield. So it's a 360% chance, the 360 degrees at zero is still 0, you know what I mean? Also, I do imagine that the Night Goblin Big Boss is probably out squigify this stuff. You know what? Let's go for Backstabber. I do like the nasty skulkers, and we're gonna get them on the field relatively soon. I think. Mostly I just want one of these guys on field to start leveling. And flanking immune for squigs. It's just that maybe the Night Goblin war bosses are better, big bosses are better. Let's do the Backstabber. We'll definitely be getting nasty skulkers in an army, even if it isn't this one. And Gorbad, you unfortunately can't reach enemy territory, which is a shame. But what can you do? Oh well, you go here. And we'll head towards Wolfgang von Gorst. You could get some... I was about to say could get some Night Goblins, but no, you can't. We can't afford them. What about Blorg? We're still raiding. We got some Chaos Rebels? Oh, because of the presence of the Beastmen. Huh. Free rebel killing. You go here. Kill this. Auto-resolve it. Oh, you can't... Really? What if we do this? Huh, that'll let us auto-resolve it. Game. Why you so silly? Auto-resolve. Obviously, I mean... I'd love to fight Chaos, but this is just piles of Marauders. It's not very interesting. We'll do the Eat Captives to get the additional casualty or punishment trait, which will help... oh, Banner Eternal Flame. We do want a Fiery Army, and... we'll see which one. What do we have here? North Confederacy. Oh, I guess we'll move here then. You just gotta be very careful about overextending, because we could get jumped by Thorgrim at any point, and obviously, well, we don't want to. Not with this army. Gorbad, yes. Blorg, not so much. Global recruitment, still relatively cheap to get regular gobos, but we'll keep an eye on that. Let us keep making money here for now. Go for the Goblin Sawmills, expensive though they may be. This is sort of our main territory right now. I guess we can upgrade Mantreda. You can upgrade the port, and definitely the boss's shack. We have both stunty cages here, and I guess we will want to get the spider building now, because we're well on the way to completing those pastures, and there goes all our cash. Assuming that we don't invest in this, but we... yeah. Well, boss's shack is nearly up and running. Anyway. Oh, right, the Savage Orc building is here. Good. And, oh, we got the Scabby Eye here as well, so they can hold some of the territory until we either bonk them into Confederation or just Confederate them in turn. Karazakarak and Barakvar have confederated. Ooh, that's actually bad. And the reason it's bad is... the reason it's Gorbad is because that they're even more likely to attack us. You two back off here a little bit. They try to get as far away from Thorgrim potentially attacking us as possible, but keep on raiding, getting the XP and all the other stuff. Currently, and the quest for Snagla Grobspit, aka Spider Gob. Now, maintain a 6 units of Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Guess we need spiders, which, wouldn't you know it, we are just building the building now. Lovely. Alright, and we'll give this a read before we actually, well, when we complete the battle. Tactic unlocked, Raiden parties. Nemesis Crown, definitely gonna get the Nemesis Crown for Gorbad. It is absolutely on the menu, and it is absolutely part of the plan. Anyway, you, Gorbad, I want to see this. If we do Gorbad's boys, like so. So currently they don't have the Gorbad's boys passive. We do this. They gain the passive. Do Biggins do not. Okay, so this only applies early game, meaning this is no longer super useful to us, and we're better off getting an artillery piece and then using shoot to runts to buff up the tactical boys instead. Gorbad, still trying to get you to rank 12, so head to Hanging Rock. And that's where we'll hang him. Oh my lord, they have 5 mortars. Alright, that's not good. Besiege the enemy. Gonna have this, I guess. Yes, it's very funny. You, get into this army. Scavenge. And you won't be able to reach the enemy anyway, even in march stance? Even in march stance. Alright, go... be careful. I don't want another army potentially attacking you. Let's level up the shaman. Another point in foot of Gork. 2 points in foot of Gork. It's too good, and we'll need it cheaper. And the rest of this, I believe, is fine, as we have no money for anything else. We could give Brovska back. We will probably need to head out here. I'm very concerned about these guys. Gilbert Granite Hand. Burnout Grundledrak. Hey, any relation to Herrick Grundledrak? Anyway, let's end the turn. Alrighty, build the mightiest fortress, working on it, and your rating. Do we not... Would you please stop doing that? We have a non-aggression pact, we're very friendly, AI will just raid us and suffer no consequences whatsoever. But it is what it is. Anyway, you guys stick around. I don't see the dwarfs yet moving towards us, but we have to be mindful of it. Looks like these guys did not sally out of Hanging Rock, and thus we're going to have to sally in. You're going to go here to reinforce. Gorbad. I guess we are only 2 turns away until the WAAAGH dissipates, so we're free to essentially send the WAAAGH to die and recover it later on. Should be fun. Anything else we want to do? We got the tactics. We don't really need to switch any units out. I guess we're moving on in then. Hanging Rock. Close victory. We'll see. Go.
Take care of the big stuff, and we win this good. You got that? Now, go smash some heads!
Alrighty. Narla, you get pets. Here we go. The enemy is going to be very much entrenched here. They have 5 mortars, and we're going to have to take those walls by storm. As to whether we can pull it off, well, it remains to be seen. Will our numbers be enough? We do have a full WAAAGH of units to sacrifice. Okay, yeah, I was like, wait a second, where'd the WAAAGH go? Yeah, we do have a full unit of, full army of WAAAGH units to sacrifice, so we're going to try to do so. Unfortunately, looks like this is, there are a few maps on the battlefield, or, well, in the game rather, where your artillery don't want to fire at the enemy towers. They act as if there's obstructions on the map and try to move towards the towers. We can see it happening with the Goblin Bolter. I tried a bunch of different angles, and it completely refused to fire at the towers, which means we're not going to be bringing down the towers. We're just going to have to, well, take the walls by storm. I'm going to prepare to do so, and I'll make a quick cut as we wait for our reinforcements to arrive, get into position so that we can start. Alrighty, we are back. The reinforcing WAAAGH has arrived, and we begin to move towards the enemy's settlement. 5 sets of mortars will rain their projectiles down upon our WAAAGH units as they head directly towards those walls. The idea is to use the WAAAGH to make the enemy waste as much of their shots as we can, well, make them waste. Our siege towers will also go towards the enemy walls, but the siege towers will be protecting our non-WAAAGH units, and they will wait until the WAAAGH is spent. Plus, it's always nice to send units directly at an enemy wall, see how well their defenses hold up against us. And all of the enemy towers are firing away at us, since the bug meant that the artillery wasn't able to knock them down, and so it's going to be a much more difficult fight and siege because of it. Look at all those orcs and cabos from the WAAAGH bleeding for the boss. Spending their lives, perhaps not dearly. But you gotta spend orcs to make orcs. Anyway, we've got Fort Tower. Alright, Fort Tower. Where's the gate? It's under here. Gate is full HP. We do have a battering ram with us as well, though as to whether it can actually reach the place remains to be seen. The first of our WAAAGH units are starting to get closer to the enemy wall, though it looks like one or two of them have begun to rout already, but others continue to advance. Ooh, the Celestial Wizard will bring an Urnon's Thunderbolt down, shocking a few of those gobos to death, or perhaps they shouldn't be so shocked that a lot of them died approaching the enemy wall like this, and being arrow magnets or whatnot. But we just gotta keep going. And we do have a unit of war wagons here as well. Got to be careful about those, not to be underestimated, especially for our single entities and such. I'm just gonna have to wait and see. Looks like 1, 2, 3 more units, 4 more units of WAAAGH units are beginning to rout. Our battering ram as well as our towers still trundling forward. Although it looks like the mortars have begun to target the enemy rams, and it's starting to, or to target our ram, and it's starting to take a bit of damage there. Oh well, what can you do? Oh, another Urnon's Thunderbolt gonna drop down on some of the gobos, but that's alright. 2 can play at that game. The enemy's going to use magics, so will we. A Foot of Gork will step directly on top of the wall, and it looks like it somewhat clips them. I guess it only counts as clip damage because the Foot of Gork touches down under the wall rather than on top of it. I feel like it is a spell that should probably work directly on top of a wall. I mean, it's a giant foot coming out of the sky. I don't see why it wouldn't work like a bombardment rather than an explosion. As in the classifications of the type of spell. But still, they took damage. Our WAAAGH units continue attempting to make their way through or towards the walls, though they are still very much taking damage, and will have not yet found purchase, have not established a beachhead, have not really achieved anything so far, other than eating the enemy's ammunition, which, admittedly, was one of the main things we wanted out of them. Plus, it's always nice to have a cinematic siege where the AI actually gets to do stuff instead of you just knocking a few holes in the walls and then being able to move on in. That's the beautiful part of the WAAAGHs we will have throughout this campaign. Oh, and that's another Urnon's Thunderbolt by the looks of it. Gonna be a fair bit of damage, but what can you do? The enemy gate still stands, but for how long? As the WAAAGHs have been, or the WAAAGH units have been distracting the enemy, and it looks like our battering ram was nearly there. And it looks like the first of our range units have arrived at last. First, we will start with the range units of the, primarily from the WAAAGH, the non-Ruggled's armored orcs and tactical boys, which will advance together with those towers and start pincushioning the units up on top of the walls. The mortars will begin targeting these WAAAGH units of range, and then directly behind them we will get ready to move in the tactical boys and up their damage. And there we go, the siege yet continues, and this is certainly feeling like a proper siege, you know what I mean? Sometimes sieges in this game have a bad habit of, you know, not feeling quite right. But what can you do? Well, what we can do here, when we have a WAAAGH at least, is enjoy a proper siege by sending units up on top of the walls, losing droves of them and not caring about their casualties, especially since the call to WAAAGH is about to end. Anyway, looks like the ram has made it to the enemy gate, and one more hit will bring the gate down. There we go. And with that, we're ready to enter the enemy settlement. Ruggled's armored orcs and the tactical boys are nearly in position. The towers are nearly there as well. Of course, they have to go a little bit past where our ladders, that's where I was going to say arrows, have docked upon the walls, but that's fine. The further away from the enemy mortars, the better as well. And there was a mortar unit that decided to move close here, and we promptly were able to wipe it out with a Foot of Gork. And And, well, if it isn't the enemy Master Engineer, we're going to head directly towards him with Gorbad, who delivers a 20% HP blow with his first hit. And it looks like the Engineer gets knocked to the ground with every blow. Okay, the first 2 blows at least. Alright, and that looks pretty painful. The Engineer's down to half of his HP, and it looks like he has called for aid as some pikemen have moved on in. Try to apply that anti-large of theirs to stop Gorbad from killing their lord, though as to how effective that's going to be remains to be seen. Our towers have nearly arrived, and Ruglad's armored orcs and tactical boys are at last in position. Or at least will be in a couple of seconds. And we'll be able to start helping out with the range damage, at least shortly, as soon as I figure out that the game is doing that bug where units won't fire unless directly told. But that's alright, we could just directly tell them to fire at specific units, and then they will begin laying that covering fire down. And I do mean covering fire now, because as the arrows start raining from the sky, that is the ideal time to send the towers to dock, since they won't be nearly as shot up by the enemy. Plus, the enemy mortars are still firing, but only firing away at, hopefully, primarily Y units. Anyway, like the other battle, we've got a smaller Squigtide, but still a Squigtide, together with the Snotlings and stuff as they head into the city. Gotta overrun all those units of crossbows and such, while Gorbad continues running amok, and I do believe he has at this point killed the enemy lord and is now just trying to distract as many of the enemy infantry as possible. Took us a fair bit of work to get here, admittedly, as into this portion of the siege, but we're well into the enemy settlement now. And there we go, the towers have arrived, and the units are getting on top of those walls now. I'm sure a few mortar shells will explode among them in short order. But the enemy is going to have to pick its targets now, because we're all over the place in the enemy settlement. Pump wagons are doing good work. Gorbad is helping out amongst them, but mostly just killing whatever he can reach, as we wait for more units to get into the enemy settlement, like the Boar Boys, which have at last arrived, and will hopefully soon be able to move forward and punch through the enemies. We still have, I believe, 2 or 3 enemy mortars firing away at us. 2 at this point have been destroyed by spellwork of ours, since we couldn't do it by artillery. There's another destroyed one. And, ooh, gotta be careful about those war wagons. They do plenty of damage. Their high damage dealing shots are probably wasted on the very numerous squigs, but against things like the pump wagons, these things will do pretty darn well. And it looks like the AI will actually target the pump wagons with them. And oh, this squig was supposed to go for them. Oh, it looks like they will as well. Okay, it's alright. I was gonna say we had ordered these squigs to move towards the war wagons, but they started routing immediately as they got the order. But what can you do? We've at least got the Boar Boys ready to chase down those war... Oh, wow, they just knocked out 2 or 3 war wagons with a single volley. Or, pump wagons, rather. The war wagons knocked out the pump wagons. Currently, they have wagon superiority is what I'm getting at, and they're just going to keep on firing. Hopefully, we can run them down with our Boar Boys. On the bright side, though, the balance of power has shifted to about 80-85% in our favor. The wall is pretty much ours at this point. And now just a matter of time to get towards the other enemy units of artillery pieces. Another mortar has been found, no need to foot of Gork this one, and just good old-fashioned greenskins and piggies. Alright, tactically not much to say anymore as, we've gotten past the tactical aspect of this particular battle, and now it's just a matter of time as we overrun what units remain. The bounce power is at about 90% in our favor at this point. But look at that, our Orc Shaman is barely hurt this time. Good job, Steve. The war wagons appear to be overrun, and there we go. It melts away or breaks apart, and now they were still able to at least force our snotling pump wagons to rout. Good for them. Anyway, we do have a barricade blocking us off where Gorbad is currently located, but that's alright. The fast movers, the squigs, the boar boys, rather, can just make their way up the ramp and head into the settlement proper. And it looks like the enemy will attempt to stop us with pistoliers, but it looks like the AI has decided and or realized that there is no hope in terms of doing that and will break, knowing that the fast movers would have overrun everything that was left in the city. Very, very nice siege. Ah, that was absolutely beautiful, was it? It's such a great thing to have the piles of disposable troops for our WAAAGH, and from our WAAAGH, and the WAAAGH did bleed for the war boss, choking the enemy's guns and whatever with our dead until we were able to advance the main host, and looks like it didn't take too much damage on the main army, and yeah, it's so great having disposable troops. It's one of the reasons I absolutely love playing the vampires, one of many reasons, but yeah, I'm going to definitely enjoy being able to send WAAAGHs at enemies. Anyway, we got a nice new location. We'll occupy the place as well, and I guess we'll keep the boar sty. We could get a couple more boar boys in here if we wanted to. I mean, Gorbad does want boar boys. That's definitely a thing. Well, they weren't so expensive, but I mean, oh wow. 1,050 to recruit one. I wonder how much it costs to recruit a regular orc boy, because we could just evolve a couple of these guys into boar boys, can't we? No, we wouldn't save anything, because we'd have to evolve them twice, and whatever, just recruit them, I guess. Well, on the other hand, wait, okay, well, let's just see. Dragon Mane Gem, Iron Curse Icon, Durkit Squigs up and running. Ooh, the Squiggy army approaches. Mogrub's Mangy Marauders. Okay, I'm getting some good stuff. Now, we probably won't use Mangless Squigs and Spiky Rollers in Gorbad's army, but obviously we wouldn't delete these guys because they're going to be useful in here. Gorbad wants primarily orcs, I think, though admittedly his stuff doesn't... Well, the additional speed is really nice for the boar boys, which are generally a relatively slow-moving cavalry unit. Oh wow, the Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins have a massive amount of speed, but I think we're going to use the regular Boar Boy Biggins for once, rather than the Savage variant. Anyway, at least I think. We shall see. Too bad there's no Regiment of Renown or something. But we gotta fit them in with the Broken Tusks mob, right? So there is that to consider, and take advantage of that lovely, devastating flanker, and the Strider, and the speed, and all that. Yeah. Plus, I guess, in theory, the tactical boys will actually be the melee line for Gorbad, not the orc boys. So, yeah. Alright, fine. You know what? As soon as one of these guys reaches rank 4, we could just get rid of both of the spears, but we do need the anti-large. As soon as we're ready, we'll evolve these two guys then. And we can build a Savage Orc territory building, and I guess we probably should since it's our only one. And we'll build it here and we'll delete this, replace it with the boss pole. Don't collect the income either. Alrighty, and then you can go past this. We're moving to Kalkmere, which is their new capital, though not for long. And we're probably just going to stop on by and kill the elves off as well. And we'll need to move around to grab Tor Anrock. Are we ready to collect income here? Yes, we are. It's not much, but, you know, every little bit counts. Circle of the Sun. I think we're not going to invest in it other than a singular Raiden stash here. It's just that I fear that the High Elves will declare war on us, attack us, and then take it back. They got 4 territories that are currently fighting with Clan Vulcan and Bog Creepers. Why is nobody fighting WAAAGH? He should be nearby, right? I think he's somewhere around here. I hope he's somewhere around here, otherwise I will be tremendously disappointed. Anyway, ooh, yes, money-making building. Almost 1,000 gold. Oh, the Orky economy. It's, in the early game, it's so concerning. But it is what it is. Anyway, Brasov, we'll go for the Raiden hideout to war. Wait. You know what, let's get the Beast Layers. We are moving towards getting Spider Gob, and we want the Beast Layers ready for getting those spiders up and running. Next up, we will It's time to run these guys away. Maybe spend one more turn here. Just keep on raiding, making your army cheap and raidy. That's a word. Skip, skip, skip. And end the turn. And not moving towards us yet. Well, at the very least, Somjik will probably no longer fall to a single stack, so that's good. Oh, wait. Gorbad, you're rank 12 now. Yes, alright. Oh. the main thing, the thing that we've been saving for. Me, ignore. Character experience gain plus 10%, research rate 15, and deboss as a plan. Melee defense plus 30, it's another similar sort of ability that Gorbad has, so one defensive and one offensive. Next, we're going to get boys to the front because it's melee infantry buff faction-wide. It's not a crazy buff, but it is faction-wide, and that probably includes our garrisons. We will definitely want to get at least 1 point in shooters to the back because it gives dig in, and that's a massive increase to range to Ruglad's orcs. Assuming they're in here, yes, and the tactical boys. And then lastly, we'll want to grab the let's go to WAAAGH. It doesn't sound like anything crazy for us right now because we don't have any WAAAGH mobs units. We'll probably put a couple of feral wyverns in Gorbad's army, or possibly armored squighoppers. I'll think about it. It's all good stuff, but the thing we want is the vigor loss reduction, because vigor is a crazy, crazy thing in SFO. Ooh, this gives us the passive, though. Yeah, the range is relatively short. I mean, we're going to get everything, so... Oh, actually, we have enough to get it as well. Yeah, let's get that, and then we'll want the Strider. We'll want 1 point in basically everything. Alright, very, very nice. Now we can end the turn. Ah, there it is. We were certainly expecting that, and that's why I said we shouldn't invest in it, and I guess proven right on that account. Well, we were always expecting this, and I guess we're gonna have to knock down Teclis. Going deeper into the Badlands. Oh well. Alright, Brutish Overseer. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Construction cost plus 15 for all buildings, all regions faction-wide. Give this a read. The ferocious foreman of your logging operation has been applying the whip with unseemly zeal. Workers are vacating the camps en masse, and timber production is dwindling, driving up the construction costs. Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, very concerned about these guys. Oh, wow. Would you look at that? Minus 1,300. Yeah, I fear that these guys, though they're generating a decent amount of cash for us, will have to move back immediately. If the elves have declared war on us, the dwarfs are likely to follow. I don't know where Teclis' army is, but we want to attack Kalkmir nonetheless. We might actually trade Kalkmir to these guys temporarily. Are you at war with Teclis? I wonder if I could get you to fight Teclis. Huh, Scabby Eye is... Oh, wait, this is Scabby Eye and this is the Howlers. They're right beside each other, right? Alrighty, well, we'll leave that as it is. Black Venom, Clan Treacherick. Currently fighting Order of the Winter Sun. That's not our problem right now. We could do a non-aggression pact with the Howlers for now, just for the money. We could always betray them and beat them up later. Pay swords. Do we want to be friends with these guys? They're fighting Bugmans and they're fighting Solend, which I'm sure Gorbad doesn't too mad about. The thing is, I don't know whether they're hated or they're liked by man-eaters, and we definitely want to get Gorbad on the team. Mostly because we want ogre units. They work very nicely with the orky units, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, I guess we're advancing. You gotta be kidding me, you're just... Is it on the enemy, in the enemy territory, or just in our territory? I don't know. Move here. I'd like you to not get in Gorbad's way, ideally. Gorbad, go here and we'll see. Does it cross over to the enemy territory or not? I think it does. Yes, it does. Money. Good. Alrighty, you go here. You will not cross to the enemy territory, but that's fine. Kalkmir should be an easy take, and, well, if Circle of the Sun gets taken by the elves, well, I guess it does. Next up... Ooh, poison, huh? Toxic Venom. Nice. Wiggler and Backstabber. We got another Backstabber. That's fine. What do we have here? Deluniest. Distabbiest. Oh, missile block chance. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if we can get Distabbiest on... If we could get the Stabbiest on a Night Goblin War Boss, that would be really nice. I'm just thinking then this, the missile block chance plus 25% would then apply to squigs, and then they would have 360 missile block chance. It still wouldn't be too much, I'll admit, but, you know, better than nothing. Demorkiest and Deburniest. Huh. Savage Fire Army. I don't dislike that. I don't dislike it at all. I do dislike the Brutalist because it doesn't seem worth our time, but anyway. We probably want another one of these Scariest guys, and the thing is... experience gain for units. It's also pretty good, but anyway. The thing about this is this. You will want trolls, as well as some other things. We will want to start recruiting those spiders as well, which we will start on 2 turns. Oh, we also want these raiden hideouts. Wait, we'll start with our bigger money-making province, which is you. Frankly, we might want to actually get the captives pit out of here and then get another Dahorde in here, though the control reduction is also not great, but it is what it is. What about here? I guess we will build a pile of shiny stuff here. It is growth as well as income from buildings, such as it is, and then we'll upgrade this for more economy. Again, such as it is. And keep the camp ruckus up and running. Alright, good enough for me. Next up, Blorg. One more turn. Do we keep risking it? Oh, it's gonna come back to bite me, I just know it, but it is what it is. Skip, skip, and then the turn. Let's see what these guys do at Kalkmere. Oh, wow. Well, I wasn't expecting that, I gotta admit. I mean, it was bound to happen, but I wasn't expecting it yet. Damn. The Barrow Legion will declare war on us. Yeah, we are very far from them, and that does mean we will need a new army up there. Alright, fair enough. Kemmler, you have annoyed us greatly. Alright. Alright, what do we have here? You have successfully completed the call to WAAAGH and attained your trophy. The mobs have dispersed, for now. Start building your reputation towards your next call to WAAAGH. Ooh, so that means also we lost the bonus control, which we needed. Armored squig hoppers and 4 super squigs. Now, the super squigs problem is that they're just explosive, so we can essentially ignore. I mean, they're basically bloated corpses. They're not super useful. So the question is essentially between 3 lava spider rider archers, which are pretty good, and the armored squig hoppers, which are similarly pretty good. 187 versus 125. These guys are cheaper, but we get 3. Poison missiles, or, I mean, I did want to get that Squig-Tide army up and running sooner, so, yeah. And I guess we can keep the Super Squigs around for emergencies. I'm gonna say Squig-Tide. The mounds of dead have attracted throngs of ravenous squigs. Those nasty little buggers can be useful in the right circumstances. Squig-Tide. Alright, Tactic Unlocked, Regimental. Now, out of curiosity, Death Creepers, Force Goblin Spider Riders, and Force Goblin Spider Rider Archers. It doesn't even count the Lava Spider Riders. Anyway, Muncha, we're going to have you take Kalkmere, assuming that it's poorly defended, which it kind of is. And Gorbad will reinforce. Huh, there is this little, the remnant of this army running around there, though. We could sack, well, what would sacking it do for us, though? Nothing, really. Alright, auto-resolve. And more damage than I'd like. Ooh, War Banner, nice find though. And then we will occupy. Now, Kalkmere, out of curiosity, okay, wait, you, no, not the Goblin Big Boss, you, Muncha, don't have the items, alright. This guy has probably not enough to actually threaten us. I was going to say trade Kalkmere temporarily to these guys for as much cash as they're willing to throw at us. So, we will build whatever cheapest military building we have, which is the Goblin Camp. It's going to take 3 turns? Really? Okay. Minus 36 because we're raiding. Okay. Ignore this. Go to Hanging Rock and sit there for a turn. Minus 26. Oh, an enemy is raiding us. Which enemy? I guess the elves are raiding us. Huh? No, actually, which enemy is raiding us? This is in this territory. In Northern Badlands. We have Kalkmere, which I don't see any enemies raiding us. You're not in a raiding camp. You're just in a regular camp. Could it be this? Huh. I wonder what's there. Ah! It's our orky friends. Go figure. Alrighty, fair enough. Orc Shaman, you've leveled up again, sir. You're gonna get Arcane Conduit. You've been dropping those foots like they're running out of style. Is that the phrase? Anyway, well, let's see what else we've got. Oh, right, Kemmler. The Annoyance. We have to be ready to defend WAAAGH, which is funnily enough our capital, which means we gotta get a new guy up and running. And I guess we're gonna go for the scariest, since we still need... I mean, we could get Demorkius, but frankly, this will eventually become useless. I don't dislike Deburnius, it's just that we don't have Savage Orcs yet, and we're not going to get them here. We're going to get them in the Savage Orc place. Yeah, let's go with the Orc War Boss. I'd like, or we could get this guy and then wait until he gets replaced by something better. Yeah, you know what, let's not spend money right now. Let's get you on field, get an additional Lord, and then keep an eye on Chem. What do we want to recruit here? We will want the Stomping Pump Wagon Spiky Rollers, though they are horrifically expensive. Could start with some Gobos. They're cheap. Frankly, the Spiky Rollers aren't... Well, actually, they are pretty darn expensive, admittedly. Alright, start at least on some Gobos. They're not going to be too much more effective than the... then piles of zombies are, but we gotta have something, and then eventually evolve these guys into something else. Now, just to double check real quick, you have the Arachnarok Spider, and you do buff spiders, so we definitely want you leading a spider army, and we'll want you leading a wolf rider army, and whatever cunning plan is mixed with that. Alright. Gotta remember what kind of lords to look out for, depending on what kind of armies they're gonna lead. I wonder if you have anything for wolves. We've seen the thing for spiders. We'll see about wolves. Anyway, Azdrag, One Finger, and Blorg. I think we've no choice but to return you now. Can't guarantee that Kemmler doesn't... do we get this from writing, I wonder? I guess we'll see. Also, you guys move here. Oh, there goes all of our money generation, but I guess we can raid the... we can raid the dwarfs down here while they're rebuilding. Construction cost increase doesn't help either. Plans are fine. We're waiting for this, and oh, we have the -10 leadership as well, which ain't so great. At least we have the +2 control, but we should be losing control everywhere where we don't have a nice boss's tent. I don't know how much these guys will pay us for Borovska right now. Borovska. 4,000. Not enough, unfortunately. So I guess we'll leave it, unless somebody else is willing to give us a lot of money for Borovska. Just out of curiosity, Borovska, 2,000. And as weird as this may seem, we can't give you Borovska. Okay, I was curious whether Thorgrim would be rich enough to offer us cash for a currently relatively useless province. Alright. I guess we're good. Oh, you know what? Let's level you up just in case those guys come for us, because if they attack us, you'll need to be able to actually, you know, fight. Get your Blade Master, and... well, the other point's probably not super worth it, but nonetheless, just get your Deadly Blade. At least you'll hit hard. And then you, Little Gobbo... I mean, I guess you're both Little Gobbos. You can get elusive, because frankly, you're super fragile. Alrighty. Halberdiers and Pistoliers. We got 2 Orc Arrow Boys, and then the limited amount of numbers in our garrison. Alright, looks good to me, so skip, and oh, look at that. We finally have a tech nearly up and running. Trying to get towards that no complaining and that bonus control. We also do have a little bit in the way of scrap. Just out of curiosity. We need scrap errors, which gives us reload time reduction, which is here. Maybe we'll get that next. Power up our Rugloods, and, well, get more Rugloods when we can, as soon as we can, because they're going to be Gorbad's main line. Anyway, end turn. Alright, Laborers of Jar destroyed, not our problem. To Howlers, onward towards no complaining. Tactic removed from Gorbad, and it's on cooldown for 1 turn, so we won't get the other. And that's alright, though. We will proceed towards the Elves. Go into Raiden Camp, and then move towards Bog Creeper Camp, which is empty. Hey, you guys attacked us. Why didn't you have stuff here? We really need to peel away and knock out Toranrock before he comes back. Although, frankly, we do want his defeat trait on Muncha here. Alright, well, let's hope that Mr. Hobnails can catch this guy. Ooh, I just realized something I don't like. We can't really raid these guys easily, can we? Do we have military access with these guys? We don't, and they refuse to give it to us. Oh, although I do wonder how much money they're willing to give us if we trade them Borovska. As in this turn. Borovska? 1 point... Ah, chip. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. We could pass through their territory and raid them a little bit. I know that they're... Well, we have a non-aggression. We are orcs, and they did raid us. And they're not gonna like the trespassing and whatnot. But it is what it is. Ooh, they got doom divers, though. Alright, looks good to me. And there's nothing we could do about this, could we? We're definitely not joining war against Karak Hearn. Actually, the raiding is probably going to be... You know what? Just trespass. I don't want to risk fighting them right now. Eventually, if they don't confederate, but not right now. Anyway, we're just going to have to keep the... keep this up and running until we can call that WAAAGH. Gorbad, on the way to Bog Creeper Camp. I believe that's gonna be another intern real quick. Luggin the Looney. Stay as you are. I don't think we need more units, although, wait. You can cross the river and raid. Ah, okay, no, they're on the way. We can't. Well, we could for one turn. We'll actually need defenses, and we don't have enough. We really need those spiky rollers. We can only build one. Does anything here help us in fighting? No, it does not. Alright, well, fair enough. Muncha, you're fine as you are, and I believe that's it, unless we can get more money somehow. We could do a non-aggression with the clan Treacherich, but once again, I really don't like the fact that they're in Ekrund. Broken Nose. Well, we could do this. A little bit of cash might be enough for a second spiky roller. Although, admittedly, the armor sundering isn't going to be super useful against these zombos. But it is what it is. Anyway, get another spiky roller then. And we will probably get some goblin rock lobbers and bolt throwers as well. If we can, you know, afford them. It remains to be seen. Skip, 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 and turn. Alright, tactic unlocked, Degratus Warband. It looks like elves are moving towards Bog Creeper Camp, but alas for them, are a little bit too far from it. I do wonder what's going on over here as well. And... Gelt has revived, but over here in kind of a weird way. Alright, Kalkmir. Next turn we should be able to trade it to these guys, hopefully for a decent amount of cash, and then take it back later. Muncha, you are going to... Hard to say what we want to do with you. Go this way for now. I want you to shadow Gelt. I mean, he can't attack Citadel of Mermidia, but we have to deal with him in some way. Alright, these guys still not super fond of the trespassing. Yeah, I think we're going to have to ignore the dwarfs for now and then just proceed towards the Gelt. May as well consolidate these armies and get a couple different armies out of them. We need more looting and raising and sacking and whatnot. And we need to send a force out to loot and raise and sack somewhere where we have no intention of occupying territory. It's just that here we do, which is kind of a problem. Anyway, you're going to head to Bog Creeper's camp, and we're just going to hope that Teclis comes around. We'll auto-resolve this for obvious reasons. That'll do heavy damage to us, though. That's pretty concerning. Anyway, Power Stone, and don't collect the income here. Actually, speaking of income, let me just see here. Northern Badlands, Hanging Rock, we have no intention of. Brovska probably to be traded. I'm gonna keep checking these guys to see if they have money for Brovska. I should have taken that 8k. Up to 3.4k. Better, but not where we wanted to be at. And just to double check, now we still can't trade stuff to you, and then just to double check the Legion of Setep. No. Oh, 4,000. Better than nothing, but we're not gonna. These guys are actually usually fighting the Empire, funnily enough, and they do have a version to us, but it's a relatively small one. Tomb King allies for orcs. It's kind of an interesting thought, isn't it? Anyway, Power of Dewa, and then Reese select the next one, and then you can have... Oh, Gorbad's Boys is still on cooldown. I don't really care about this. We could probably use the artillery piece. All right, you know what? What we're going to do is this. You two... Oh, I was going to say you two are going to get upgraded to boar boys, but they're more expensive and we can't afford them. Oh, game. All right, fine, fair enough. It's all right. It's just the early game. It'll take a little bit. You'll be able to reach WAAAGH next turn. Huh, will you attack, I wonder? Well, Itchy Nuisance is great. We have the basic variant of Vindictive Glare, and while I'd love to overcast it, Itchy Nuisance is a big old area. And it's pretty strong, so yeah. How much mana do you have? Oh, barely any. For the fight then, presuming it'll happen, screw the Earthing Rod, we'll give you the Power Stone, we will... Actually, maybe give you the Scroll of Blast for this. It's not a particularly good item, but it's better than nothing. We should also... Let me just see what else we have in terms of options here. Yeah, funnily enough. Yeah, screw it. Lose the Power Stone, lose the Scroll of Blast, get the Earthing Rod, and combine into a Sword of Strife. Uncurse Icon and Potion of Foolhardiness. You know what? Yes. Fuse those. Ogre Blade's still not something too great, but you can have a Terrifying Mask of E, rather than whoever had that. Glittering Scales. I would really prefer not to lose it, but well, we'll need everything that we can get here. And we have a second Ogre Blade. Oh, actually, the Sword of Strife will be better on Gorbad than the Ogre Blade will, I'd bet. And a little bit of extra melee attack. Now, you are going to... We could get the Logie Bogies, we could get the Snagless Death Thrower. Actually, I don't know what this thing does in terms of anything interesting. Lethal Poison on it. Ooh, that's pretty interesting. It is stupidly expensive, though. Logie Bogies Splodas is cheaper and, frankly, probably going to be more effective. I think we'll get Logie Bogies in here together with the pump wagons. There we go. That should be more than sufficient, or at least I hope, because that's all of our cash. And, oh, do you need or can you use any kind of plan? Out of these, no unit requirements met, and I wonder how many goblins we need in one army to meet the goblin unit requirement. Well, if this guy's by himself, we should be able to hold. If he is not by himself, we might not be able to hold. But we shall see. Anyway, let's end the turn and see if Teclis comes around. Alright, interestingly, Kemmler did not attack us, but Lothiel has decided to be incredibly irritating, and oh, but just at the edge of our range. Well, maybe not as irritating as she probably hoped. Okay, we can just auto-resolve this because it's garbage. Oh wow, minus 274, not great. Oh, actually, can we auto-resolve this? We are damaged, and no, it'll kill our squigs. Alright, I guess we could just do this little mini elf fight to end the episode off. Why not? Just a small one, go for it. Alrighty, here we go. We've been fighting a lot of Yumis this episode, so, maybe Teclis did us a favor by declaring war upon us at this time. Gonna fight some elves instead, and we'll see how we stack up. They may be in March stance, but they still do have a lot of Lothern Seaguard, and a lot of Lothern Seaguard with shields, I should say, which, I'd be willing to bet the shielded Lothern Seaguard would probably win in a shootout against the tactical boys. I mean, these are orc archers after all. Let's see, we have more range now that we have the scrap upgrades, and... they're kind of reverse of each other. The enemy has a very high melee attack, but or we have very high melee attack but little melee defense, and they have very high melee defense but little attack comparatively on the Lothern Seaguard. We do have a little bit more regular weapon strength, but the enemy has more anti-large weapon strength due to the, well, just general anti-large bonuses that the Lothern Seaguard get. How effective that's going to be remains to be seen. We do still have our fast movers getting ready to move around the enemy. And since we outrange the enemy, we are going to try to make good use of our tactical boys. Alright, there we go. They're going to move on in and start the shootout as the Lothern Seaguard. Oh, actually, the Lothern Seaguard will start focusing the orc boys at the front of the line. There we go. Now they're focusing the tactical boys as well. Elven arrows continue to drop among us. Oh, I like that every single one of the units of tactical boys has a dwarfen shield and a couple of dwarfen axes. Nice to see. But a Gork gonna come down on the enemy, and just to try to wipe out this unit of archers with, regular high elven archers. And it's time to head directly towards the enemy line. We're going to try to tie up as many of those Lothran Seaguard as we can to allow our fast movers to hit them in the back. Of course, the tactical boys will continue firing away and specifically trying to target any unit that doesn't have a shield, like the regular Lothran Seaguard, like the Rangers, like the High Elven Archers with heavy arrowheads, etc., etc. Besides, as the enemy wheels and mills around in a panic from what's happening here, our fast movers have arrived and get ready to charge on in, especially against those fragile, regular elven archers, or heavy arrowheads. The non-Lothran Seaguard archers is what I'm getting at. Anyway, here come the orc boys as well. Spear on spear action, orc spears versus elven spears. Elven spears, of course, are not to be underestimated. All you really need to win a campaign is a staunch line of elven spears and basic archers. If you want to play that way, of course. But anyway, looks like some of the Lothran Seaguard have moved into swampy territory and have started fighting back against the boar boys that have charged them. Fortunately, the boar boys have forced them to turn away in the opposite direction from the Ruglad's armored orcs and tactical boys, who are thus able to fire into their backs. The enemy lord is, maybe not perfectly fine, but relatively okay, as Gorbad was unable to chase her down, and we haven't been able to focus her down with range fire, but that's alright, as most of her army at this point has been destroyed. The spears will rout, and it looks like with them the rest of the army will shatter, and the battle will be ours as well. Alright, nice little fight, no problem at all. Tiny bit of damage on a couple of units, but generally speaking, nothing to be concerned about. And it looks like the enemy lord will go down, her corpse lost in this in the swamp as well. Oh, we got some, is this the same kind of, wait. Let's see if this is the same kind of axe that Gorbad has. I think he only one axe? Yeah, okay, yeah. It has the single-sided axe head rather than the double-sided. But anyway, there we go. A very nice little fight and a prelude or a preview of future fights against Teclis to come. I'm going to see how well we do when we have his magics to worry about. Alrighty, there we go. Small fight just to pay these guys back for annoying us, and much as I'd love to heal Gorbad because his army kinda needs it, we're going to ransom those captives instead. At least the army is destroyed, but, well, it wasn't much of an army, and we still need to go after Teclis and find him, and need to knock out Toranrock as well. In fact, in that light, I think we're going to use Kraka One Finger here to scout it out, so we're going to go to Toranrock, rather, like so. Got a little bit of cash, which we definitely needed, and Muncha, you're going to follow Gorbad. I'm going to assume that these guys won't be able to take Kalkmir. Actually, speaking of Kalkmir, let's see which one of these guys has the most money to offer us for this place. We'll get it eventually, but let's see. You can give us 6k? Not bad. How much can you give us? Kalkmir, you'll give us 8k? Yes, please. And yeah, don't bother declaring war on anybody. Just enjoy Kalkmir. Alright. Lovely. We need that to make more cash and make more troops. And now that's a question. Did these guys actually move away, or are they still sitting there ready to pounce should we attack them? Either way, this is a Gobbo army, and a Gobbo army must have more Gobbos. So let's get some Goblin Bolt Throwers, some Raw Clobbers, maybe another Raw Clobber, and I guess some more regular Gobbos. Frankly, this army is rather weak without additional pump wagons, so yeah, pump wagons. Alrighty, and we'll need some sneaky gits and stuff, but we can evolve the regular goblins into them, train them up over time. Yeah. haven't decided what this army is going to look like yet, but we'll figure it out. Either way, we'll have somebody else commanding it eventually, because it's not going to be you, because I don't like your trait. Anyway, I think with that, folks, we are out of time, and probably going to be a good place to call the episode. Huh. Do we raid Barakvar? I mean, or do we keep waiting? They will declare war on us, but who knows when. I would love to raid with this army because it's gonna take a long time to get to Kemlar. On the other hand, this army has fought and will fight again. You know what? Stay here for now. I know it's kind of not doing anything, and I don't like that generally speaking, but if we can deal with Kemlar and if we can deal with this situation with Gorbad, then Gorbad can go this way towards Grimgor, as we'll need somebody to bonk him anyway, so that hasn't changed. Also, you could just transfer to this guy all of those squigs, as you're not using the plan right now anyway. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to call the episode here. Next time, we try to wipe out Teclis, and we try to wipe out the Golden Order. And, oh, actually, you know what we could do? We could send these guys down to take this territory from the South Confederacy. They've paid us money, and now we have to make them pay for it. Alrighty, and maybe make some gold out of these territories, plus beat back Kemlar with whatever we do with Luggan and Lung the Looney. I'm a little bit concerned about these guys suddenly declaring war on us and jumping down and immediately attacking Heldegrad as well. But, well, if they do, they do. We'll just have to deal with it. Been a very fun campaign so far with some fantastic battles in this particular episode. And I'm hoping we'll enjoy plenty more as we go. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer hour-adjacent episodes. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.